as it goes live and it informs everybody
Yeah,
that we are
yeah.
live
We are
on
live
Facebook.
now.
Yep, we are live on Facebook too. Great, awesome.
We are live and on Instagram and also on Facebook. And there were a couple of people who asked us to share the link um,
Mm-hmm.
in different groups. And we have already shared that IIT Live certification on Facebook and Instagram. That's the
Mm-hmm.
space
Mm-hmm.
where we go generally live every Thursday.
Yeah,
And today's
and later
topic is
on, this is also uploaded on YouTube, but after the
yes,
show, yeah,
yes,
not
yeah,
simultaneously. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Also, you can always watch this report later, but I think how it helps us going live is that we can read your comments, we can read your thoughts, we can read your queries, and whatever we are talking about, whatever we are discussing. Uh, when we listen to your thoughts also, it somehow make us reflect little back and again you know uh, just hear more opinions from different sides. I think that's how it helps us to go live. And
And also,
that
wait, let me tell my personal experience. I like going live because it's all unplanned, unthought
yeah.
of. It's just a very candid conversation. And for both me and Aditi, just talking to you, without thinking too much, is more interesting than some prepared script or prepared something. So it's just to let viewers know we don't prepare, we don't decide anything. We just decide on a topic, and then that's
Yeah,
it. Yeah, snap.
yeah, yeah. And then we just flow like a river.
Hopefully. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So I think this whole month, February, we are talking about child and behavior, and I think behavior itself is an extremely interesting topic, as any parent would always love to, look little deeper or understand something called behavior most of the time, and then I think we begin on a
Wait.
very
I almost thought you were going to say every parent would like to fix the behavior.
oh yeah, that's how it is. I, I don't know. Somewhere I feel now that because the natural process has shifted a little, at least for me. So
Hmm.
there are some things when I hear or when I talk, I feel, oh yeah, this is how I used to think, and now I don't think like this kind. So yeah, I can completely understand that. Yeah, generally whenever we are talking about behavior, it's more about fixing the child or fixing the behavior at least. Let's say if we are respecting the child, still the behaviors are always somewhere in the courtroom in the कटघरा जैसे
Yeah,
कि
in
ये
on the
नहीं
radar,
करेगा in
except
the
on the
radar.
radar.
So even though I love you a lot, this is not acceptable. So,
But the
so
last two sessions, that's what we've kind of talked about. That yeah, can we kind of little turn, uh, understand the behavior, if you remember, and try and understand where the needs are coming from. In which case, we can connect with the children much more. And if you hear the previous we talk, and if you kind of agree, or you like this whole approach, that instead of responding, reacting, jumping on to the behavior, let us look at what are the needs that behavior is fulfilling, and connecting to the child with those needs. Then the automatic question that comes is, okay, I've done that, now what about the behavior?
yeah, yeah. So and also just to mention here, I do not want to forget that what I say, a very good takeaway which I had from the first we talk on behavior. That behavior is the only channel. It's the only let's say a communicating mode we have through which we understand the child. And child also
Yeah,
has
yeah.
only one way of telling us something is through behavior, and we are including talking, expressing, being angry, or everything that is
Hitting,
in this. Yeah,
punching,
eating,
pinching, tantrum.
tantrums, yes, everything in this
Yeah.
behavior.
And in that context, we also talked about how each one of us is choosing the best behavior we can
Yes,
think of at that moment.
yes,
Now, that's very, very important. If you realize that, let's say, I have three choices and I chose choice A, which is slapping you. Now, at that moment, for some reason, I thought that's the best choice.
that's
Right?
the best
I
choice.
did not think the other two were good choices. I thought, let's slap. Vishruti or whatever, whoever I am trying to suffix and say, okay, this is the behavior that will work. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is my behavior that will work. So because that, if we realize that we are choosing the best, then the automatic flow would come to that. If I can somehow um, give the child or rather not, if the child somehow the child could get more options, then
Yeah.
possibly he or she may not choose the one which is unacceptable
Correct.
to us, and
Yes.
could choose something which is acceptable either to us or to others or to the world in general.
Yes. Yes. But I think what you said is very beautiful, and the word you used was perfect. That the child is choosing an option.
Hmm,
So
hmm,
I
hmm.
think let's underline this, that the child need to know the other options as well, and then still after knowing all the other options, the child is still choosing the,
Yeah, yeah,
available, whatever available options he or she has, and the child is still choosing. And I think the moment you say that, so I think I request everybody before attending this third week talk where we are talking more about helping child choosing acceptable behavior. Before that, you please, it's a humble request, please visit the first and second week talk, because once you will visit the first and the second, then maybe this will make little more sense to you. I'm sure this will still make
yeah,
sense
yeah.
to you. Then the whole chain will, somehow the whole puzzle will get complete if you can hear in detail what
Hmm,
we are
hmm, hmm.
sharing right now just in brief.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
first was believing that the child has this one option of communicating whatsoever the feeling, the need the child has. Second, believing simple that whoever we or children, all of us are always, um, you know, choosing our best behavior in whatsoever situation.
Best
And the
option.
most
Yeah,
best option, yeah,
yeah.
all the other available options, out of them, we are choosing the best one, what we feel at that point of time in at that particular moment best. And the moment we do this, I think the first thing which comes to us when we see children and their behavior as, let's understand that if they are choosing the best option available, then automatically a lot of acceptance comes. And then
Yeah.
in this we talked about how to how to understand exactly
Hmm.
below the behavior, and see what is the feeling, and then what is the need behind that feeling.
Yeah.
Once, I think, these three steps we just go understand, and we just stand there below the behavior, then I
Hmm.
think a lot of magic starts happening. And from there only we thought that let's talk about, because still, a lot of times there are some behaviors which parents always feel that no matter what the child is feeling, but this behavior is not acceptable.
Hmm. Hmm.
And and then we are generally behind the children, or we are generally with our needs, that how do we bring child closer to our acceptable behavior. So I want to begin this conversation, Ratnesh, with the first thing. Let's think what is an acceptable behavior. And I invite everybody, whoever has joined us also, please share with us what is an acceptable behavior according to you. Or Ritesh, if you can think of any situation that would help us to think of an acceptable behavior. As you love a lot of written plays and characters.
Well, anything can be. The funny part is, anything can be acceptable and anything can be unacceptable. In a war, killing somebody is acceptable, but it's still
Yeah,
a killing, right? So
yeah,
so without trying to be, a kind of that we know what is acceptable, what is unacceptable. Let's just assume any situation. Let's say it's my 14-year-old who refuses to, let's say, touch feet of my parents, as in his or her grandparents, okay,
grandparents.
or greet somebody, or a 5-year-old who doesn't greet but grabs all the whatever gift that they have got from their hands, or so anything can be unacceptable to me. Now, the interesting thing is, let's say this is happening in front of us. Let's say a child is doing something. It could be a 15-year-old doing something or a 5-year-old doing something, which at that moment to me is unacceptable. Right? So what's the first thought? Let's say the child grabs something, or the child doesn't greet his relatives or something, and just is put on his headphones, and this 15-year-old is whatever. So what's the first thought that comes to our mind? What's the first thought that comes to your mind, Vishruti? Somebody's doing something like this. What's the first thought that comes to your mind? Yeah, that is what you are seeing. I'm saying, having seen that, what's the first thought that's coming to your mind?
As a parent?
Yeah, let's say as a parent. Obviously, as a parent, but we can extrapolate it to any adult or teacher or whatever else role you want to play. But right now, let's stick to parent.
I would think that what I'm understanding is this child is not interested in the processes, that the third person would think that he is not raised properly. Okay, Saundarya is saying.
Okay, or maybe the first thought comes to your mind is this is not acceptable.
Yeah. This is
unacceptable. That's the first thought that comes to our mind. And last we discussed at that moment, it is imperative that we look at what is acceptable. Okay. Yeah. And I want to start there, because the moment we think of what is acceptable and we say, okay, maybe his or her need is acceptable. Maybe he's so tempted with the gift that the relatives are holding that instead of wishing or anything, he wants to just grab the gift and run away to see the gift. So that's the need. Yeah. Now, if whose need was it?
Child's need.
And who fulfilled it?
The grandparent or the relative who visited.
No. In the sense, the need was the gift, so the child fulfilled it by grabbing it. So it was the child's need. The child's fulfilled it. Okay. And now, who can assess whether that was an acceptable or unacceptable behavior? Right now, that is where we think we are the one who is assessing. But if you connect with the needs, then you are here. Right. So this was the child's action, let's say, and this is the child's need. And if I'm there, so I am there. So who has to assess the child's behavior? If we twist that little, if we say the child needs to assess his behavior or her behavior, then it becomes very interesting. Now, when can the assessment happen? Maybe the assessment can happen at that moment, can happen 5 minutes later, can happen at dinner in the night, can happen next day, depending on how the situation is, what the whole thing was. But let us say there is an opportunity, right, at any point of time to go back to the child and say, hey, what do you think about your behavior?
Yeah.
Given that was the need, so I would start by saying, okay, so you really wanted to look at the gift and you were really tempted or whatever, you really wanted to see what's inside that box or whatever, or you don't believe in these whatever old-fashioned things about touching feet and all that, if it's a 15-year-old not touching feet. So how do you look at your behavior now? Not what they are thinking and all that, but how are you looking at it? So I'm inviting the child to assess, because see, who is making the choice? If we say behavior is a choice, who is making the choice? The child. Always the child is, or the doer is the one who is making the choice. It's so then he or she should be assessing the choice. Simply because the next time who is going to make the choice, it's again the child. We don't have a button, unfortunately, meaning we can manufacture some buttons and put them in our child so that we can press the one that we want. But we don't really have a button to press and say, okay, now I want this behavior. So given that we don't have those buttons, neither in our spouse, nor in our child, nor in our in-laws, not in the whole world, right? Then the only option remaining is to realize that who is in charge, who can even move from what is to me an unacceptable behavior to an acceptable behavior. Who can move this?
Yeah, I think Subbalakshmi Karthikeyan, she is saying that do all this go for teens?
Even more. even more, because a 5-year-old you can give one tap and say chalo, I mean, do this, he may even do it, right? Even 8-9-year-old might doing it. By 10-11 the child will stop doing that for you, and by 13-14 so you are in trouble if you are kind of trying to, you're only going to distance yourself from the child. The child will only turn back and say either to you or to somebody else, his friends or whatever, my mom or my dad does not understand me. Yeah, if you're not coming from a so in fact the 5-year-old will not say that. 5-year-old will cry 5 minutes and then be back to the whole thing, right? But a 13-year-old, a 15-year-old is not going to do that. So it's important that, even more important as they grow older, though I would say even for a 2-year-old, I would say, what do you think about your method or whatever you did? And and not very surprising, the child might say it's okay, it's all right, it's acceptable. Yeah, I don't want to come up with a theory that children will say, yeah, I was bad and I will be good. That's only when we have been continuously telling them this is bad, then only to make us. So if the child is saying, yeah, my behavior was bad or horrible or unacceptable, chances are he's saying it only to please you. Yeah, because most likely the child will not say it was horrible. Okay, mom, big deal, mom. Why are you so chill, mom? Or something like that, depending on, yeah, teenager will say like this, a 6-year-old will possibly run away or laugh at it or something. Yeah, but this is very interesting. So why does this happen, Vishruti? Think about it. Take a guess. Why would a child say this, that chill, mom, why are you so worked up about this?
Maybe because he's very much with his needs.
Precisely. Yes. And you have connected to his needs. So he's now responding from his need. And then behaviors look all right because they are anyway to fulfill the need. Nah?
Yeah. So I think for them, maybe even if we are having a conversation for the child, that I fulfilled my need. This is what my need was. I wanted to get this. They got it for me. I got it. I'm happy and I left. So
yeah. So what's the big deal?
I think because they are still with their own need, which is fine. I mean, which is absolutely fine. And looking at from their needs, maybe what the behavior they did or they chose was okay. But
and I also, think sorry, you were saying there were two things. So this was the first thought you got, why they are okay with their behavior. What else?
And the second thing would be that, simply because they are less conditioned, they do not have this idea in mind all the time that, this will feel somebody, this will make somebody feel bad, or this will feel somebody, or this will make somebody feel disrespected, or something like that. I think when I speak to a lot of children of, let's say, 9, 10, I feel like, oh my God, I mean, the whole idea of respect, it all shattered. I see when somebody is not talking to them, but they're still so much with their needs. They don't really care if somebody is not talking, as far as I'm getting what I really needed. And let's say if I need a help in something, they're still with their help. And I feel, oh my God, after 10 times saying no, how can you go back to him? But so I think all of these things make me feel, and that is why I think that a lot of children are less conditioned, because we feel all of these ideas are in our head. So that's why I say
so the second point is equally important, because the second point connects to when they did the behavior, it was their best choice. Now you wouldn't really call your best choice as bad, na? It is a best choice. Come on, it's like if I ask you, Vishruti, let's go out for a dinner, and you wear your best dress. Now I would say, if I ask you tomorrow, next day, how do you assess your dress for previous day? You will say good only, na? Yeah, at least good. Now that you are asking me, confronting me, it's still like good, at least, if not the best. So why would I suddenly change from my best option to saying that it was bad? So if you are asking, allowing, respecting, connecting them to share their opinion or assessment of their own behavior, please be prepared that they are trying to. They will not going to say that was unacceptable. It was unacceptable to you. Fair enough. And we are all fuddy-duddies. We are all fuddy duddies, previous generation, आधी चीजें मालूम नहीं है, and we are all worked up with having all the time the right things and the right ways. So I take it as a message when a child tells me, chill, cool, what's the big deal? It happened, over, chalo. So what? I left my wet towel on top of your laptop, big deal. Right? When my 16-year-old says that, which he did last week. So, right? So, so a message to me, I take it as a beautiful input to me, says, wow. Man, I need to really relax. I need to learn from these guys. Things aren't about all the time being good and right and perfect. Just as much as they are imperfect, I am imperfect. So I am connecting back to the child as a human being who is actually teaching me something. Right? Rather than me trying to teach. Even though I want to teach. But it's the other way around. So I receive them.
Yeah.
Right? I receive their assessment as a gift to me. Because that is very, very interesting. Because if we don't, then we will stop asking for the. After this we talk, we may ask them a couple of times and they will say, oh, it was cool now. What is the big deal? And then, or they will just run away, or haha, he is 6 years old, so they won't even do. They will say and run away, right? And like your Vedant must be doing. So whether it's a 6-year-old, your 6-year-old, or my 16-year-old, I'm saying they all respond in their own way. The point is, so it's the if I look at the order is behavior, and after the behavior comes the child, the needs. And then again we go back to the behavior as an assessment of behavior, and again after that comes the child. We are again connecting with the child that, okay, child's assessment is different because they are different and they are actually possibly teaching us something. Right? That's very important. Let's not hurry into changing something. So it's behavior back to child, assessment of behavior back to child.
Yeah. But I mean, along with this whole point of view, I also feel that one of the very important things that we can do is, as a parent, just in addition to this, that we have connected with children. I mean, I connected with child and I understood that, okay, this is not his part of the need. His need is fulfilled in this way, and he has done this. But let's say if something else is my need as a parent, then I think one of the major thing which I do is I separate my need from his need. And I identify that, let's say if I want, him to appreciate or say something, or just say thank you or whatever to the relative, then I understand that this is my need, and he has an absolute choice to refuse that. I'm not going to listen to you.
Yeah, we are two individuals.
We are two individuals. But then at the same time, what I feel is that I also offer him this choice, that you have this choice, that if you want, and if you feel that, wow, I've got something really exciting, then maybe if you want, you can say something if you want. And I don't know, but a lot of time it works, a lot of time it doesn't work also. So I sit back again with my own needs and sitting like that. And a lot of time it just works because he feels that, okay, I'm okay with whatever I've got and I'm very happy about it. And if I want to, I can just share few words or say whatever if he really wants to do that. So somewhere I think I feel that whenever I tell him that, would you like to say something or how are you feeling, then he takes charge of that situation most of the time. So I don't know how far this works with the team, but I don't know.
See, wait. So you may need to rephrase it, because we are not trying to work anything. The moment we operate from that perspective that I am trying to make it work, as in that case, my need is still supreme, because I'm thinking of, is this a technique? Okay, is we talk mein technique mila, but it's not a technique at all. It's a realization that he or she is as amazing an individual as I am, and he or she has a different need, I have a different need, we have a different style of fulfilling the needs, we have different set of options, and so on. And because of all of these differences, it's not a method.
And also ultimately it is his talk only. The fundamental fact remains the same.
No matter what you do.
So even if he chooses something which for me, it's not something which is on my list, I ultimately has to embrace or acknowledge it that okay, you made your choice. I mean,
Just like we made our choice.
Just
of saying that this is unacceptable. It is not just the child is making the choice; we are also making. Okay, so the moment we have separated the needs, right? So that's what we said. So we said child behavior. We go to the child. We separate the need. We acknowledge his need. We know what is our need, which is why we invite him to share his assessment or her assessment of behavior. And child may again throw something very interesting at us, maybe. Okay. Then I would say, if you're looking at it as a sequence, then it's now that the child has assessed that this is good enough an option, which I think is a good enough option. Sorry, which I may not think is a good enough option, but the child thinks it's good enough. Now is the time, so that now the child needs is acknowledged. Even the child's choice of behavior is acknowledged by him itself, by saying, it was cool, chill, man, chill, dad, why are you so worried? Then it's a good time to invite him or her to see what are the other options that he or she has in his mind, not in my mind. I know a lot of options that I should keep for my own behavior because I also misbehaved so many times. But what other options? So I invite the child now to think of options, his options. And I think it's very, very important. See, chances are, if I start giving options, why didn't you do X or why didn't you do Y? For example, for that wet towel on my laptop, I can say, why didn't you, hang your towel on the clothesline, right? Now, that is my idea. Where in this pile of ideas you think it will go? It's dad ideas. Now, I am the child, or you are the mom, you gave me that idea. Why didn't you put the towel? You can put the towel on the clothesline. Now I have this pile of ideas. Where do you think I will put your idea?
Least important.
Sabse niche. Yeah, sabse niche, right? And whose idea will I put at the top?
My idea. I mean,
my ideas. So that's the whole idea, or rather, that's the whole approach. That instead of we giving our ideas, because chances are our ideas will go to the bottommost, thinking, will think about it, kind of thing. Or ये तो हमेशा ही बोलते रहते हैं, they all the time keep giving the same thing: clothesline. Are you married to the clothesline or what? Right? So the idea is, instead of us giving an idea which is probably boring, by now monotonous, by now done 100 times, beaten the same beaten the same hammer, so it will go into the bottom pile. So let's invite the child to think his own ideas, right? Which will, because it is his idea, it will be right at the top.
It will be in the priority.
It will be in the priority, and then assuming that is acceptable, chances are that he or she will act out on that. Because it is high on the list, because it is his idea. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I think this is a very interesting way to look at it, simply because most of the time when we are telling them to do or act or behave in certain ways, a lot of time, I'm sure as a parent, you always have complained that I don't know how many times do I have to tell you to do this, how many times do I have to tell you to behave properly or whatever. It really doesn't. And maybe the whole, like, a lot of parents must be thinking, why is this happening? And maybe, now when this whole pile of ideas, that you know where your idea
where do I stand?
Where do I stand? And I think I think if we start judging this pile of ideas also, then you can't really do that, because that is what even we do. We are so strong about our ideas.
Our pile of ideas.
Our pile of ideas. Everybody else's ideas are always in the bottom. So I think they are much better than us, at least as an individual. So
only in the case where I come to you and say, either as an adult or as a child, Vishruti, I need an idea. then I might put your idea at the top. But that is a totally different scenario. Here we are not talking about the child coming to us that, oh mom, I was so terrible today in front of my grandmom, help me. Like, very rare. That doesn't happen, right? Just like I wouldn't go to, very rarely I would go to my wife and say how terrible I was in front of your mother now. So it's the same, right? The pile is still the same, right? So it's, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful because when we invite the child to think of the ideas, not only the child is thinking of new ideas, okay, the child is also assessing his earlier ideas automatically. See, man, if you're wearing a dress, I would say, which other dress would you like to wear, Vishruti, for the dinner? Now, automatically, the moment you start thinking of dress number 2, you will compare it with dress number 1. Which you have chosen already, right? Which is your preferred dress. So any moment when I invite the child to think of an option, another option, and because it is the child's thought process, the child will automatically assess. And now this assessment is going to help him or her. Yeah, because that earlier assessment was chill, man, dude, what are you worried about? But now he may himself or she may himself think that what I did, how I behaved was possibly that behavior was not so good, or maybe I can, if not touch the feet, at least go and hug my grandmom or whatever, or that relative. So they will come up with their own own ways of connecting. But the point.
I feel whenever you feel that you are struggling with your child's behavior, the one thing you should completely avoid is criticizing the behavior right away. That, this is just not okay, the way you're behaving, or, is this how we behave in front of whatsoever? And, millions of those just not approving of whatever the child is doing. I think that's something if you can just avoid.
And we can again share this, that if I ended up doing that, if I ended up criticizing, because at that moment my need, we can always go back. If I criticize today, I can always go back tomorrow morning and say, sorry da, I unnecessarily jumped on your behavior. I know this was your need, so sorry da, what do you think about your behavior, and so on. So I can go back on, come back to this. Just because I jumped, because at that moment my need, my feeling, how can he do like this, how can he slap a neighbor's child, now what will neighbor's child mom say, and whatever. So all kinds of things, how can he not do homework, or whatever is my my need. So sometimes we do jump, not sometimes, many a times we jump, and it's all right to jump. So we need not be harsh on our needs also. So Vishruti, going back, so we are saying invite the child to think, and assuming that the child is thinking, the child will automatically not just think and put it on top of the pile, but also evaluate all the others. However, it may very easily happen that the child would say, I don't know. Okay. Now, I don't know does not mean that the child does not know. I don't know to me means the child is not interested right now to discuss about this. Right?
Okay.
But I look at it this way, that this I don't know means, even when to my wife I ask something and she says, I don't know, I know it's not an I don't know, is that she's not interested to talk about it right now. So again, we have to receive, right? That's the beauty. If we receive this I don't know as, okay, right now you don't want to talk about it, you can think about it, let me know, bye, tata, see you, whatever. So I know this is right now not the right channel, so let me just withdraw back. I have realizing I've already thrown the seed. The seed thought that, how was your behavior? I made the child assess, and I'm now asking child to think about what else can you do. And I can do this, believe me, with a 2-year-old or even a 22-year-old. That doesn't matter. Age doesn't matter. So when I'm asking 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 5-year-old to may even start crying or running away or doing something else, which implies I don't know, right? And we don't need to harp upon it. We can just leave it. Leave it in the sense, realizing that we have already thrown a seed. Now let it germinate. Let it take its own time.
And I think this is extremely important. Let it take its own time. I think, if you are in too much of hurry, then I'm sure that connecting with your child and listening your child and putting the seed and then waiting this to germinate, all of this thing will it will vanish or you'll just miss it out. So I think time is something थोड़ा देख लो यार.
Yeah, the thing about time is the time factor comes in when we think it's our job and duty and responsibility to fix the child. That's
Yeah,
where we were at the beginning saying that, this will work or will this not work. But we are not
yeah,
trying to make anything work. We are
yeah,
just two human beings, as vulnerable, as imperfect, as whatever, as teda meda, they say na teda meda mein, right? As whatever, as crooked as I
yeah,
am, as crooked as everybody else is. So we aren't trying to fix, and if we aren't coming from that point of view, then time is never an issue,
yeah,
right? Then
yeah,
it's a matter of harmony. Okay, if two people are together, then what is important is that between our behaviors we strike a harmony for each other. So then that
yeah.
is more important. The harmony itself is more important than the, okay, I need to make my child a perfect human being kind of thing. So
And
if
I
you're
think,
coming from that perspective, it's just the time is not even in the picture.
when you have a harmony, when you're connected well, then
Hmm.
I feel there if there is a connection, then I'm sure that how you can uh, feel and understand whatever your child is behaving and doing, and a lot of time, a lot of mothers say that I have an instinct and all that. I feel it's an equal for the child also. Even
Yeah.
if a lot of time I feel, even if I don't say anything, I just enter the house and my son figures out that mama is not okay, even though I didn't say anything.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
feel that he has an equal antennas up all the time. So
Maybe even better antennas.
at times he asked me, why did you keep that thing like that? So even if I'm just putting it little harshly, he'll ask me, why
Hmm,
did you
hmm.
put it? And even I don't want to talk about it right now because I'm in a different mood. But the moment he asked me, I realized that whatever I'm feeling is directly connected with me. So
Hmm,
one,
hmm.
what you're saying, that harmony, that connection, I think it works. Again, I'm not saying we really want to work it out time, but I mean, it just gets connected so well. So then, yeah,
So
then
in
you
my
don't have
in
to
my
look
in
for
my
strategies and tips and all that.
right, in my mind, I use this is this term my money or harmony, which one you want. So we think we are rich, we have a lot of this wisdom gyan. I have this five, I can buy the behavior out of you, either by hook or crook or whichever way. So I call it my money, which is with me, my wisdom, my thinking,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
needs. So all of that is my money.
If you
Now
behave
what
properly,
is
then I'm gonna buy this for you.
oh, that is the. So
Right.
is it what do we want? We want my money on the table, or we want harmony on the table, right? When we look at it from that perspective, then time is not important. Then all these connection needs and us walking along in this journey, each one thinking about their own behaviors and so on and so forth, that becomes far more important.
Yeah, yeah. I think, I'm sure that there are a lot of people who have just joined us. If you have any different thought or any other thought in mind, do share with us. You can also share with us later on ROT's page, Facebook,
Yeah,
Instagram, Twitter, rohlife.org. That's the website also.
yeah.
And I think behavior itself is it's such an interesting thing because that's something we encounter every day. I mean, rest of the things, ठीक है, चलो, you can still put it aside, but then behavior is something that we encounter every day, and a lot of people put this in a very struggling zone also, that this is where I'm struggling the most. And oh yeah, you
Yeah, I think we are back. Sorry. I just paused you. Yeah, continue. Sorry, I broke your thought.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, yeah,
So, so a lot of parents put this in a little struggle zone that, we are struggling with the behavior, but maybe then we can look at it from this perspective too. Like there are millions of more perspectives that maybe we are not struggling with the behavior, we are struggling with the connection with the child.
absolutely. I think you put it very beautifully. Yeah, yeah, that's the crux of it.
That's the crux of it. And I'm sure
Yeah,
the moment the connection will happen automatically, you will see. I say this a lot of times in e-talk, and that is why I'm a little conscious about using this word little less. But I call this always miracle or magic. That the
Hmm.
moment this connection happens, miracles and magic starts happening. So I really want every parent to feel this. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So often when we talk about this, Vishruti, some people come up and say, meaning all this is fine, but we live in a society, and sometimes the behaviors are so strong, or what's called as
Aggressive.
aggressive. Yeah. And what do we do? Because I may understand my child's need, and I can go back and tomorrow talk to him or her, but the damage is done. The whatever, the neighbor or the classmate or whatever. The other
This is
person
what
is
we'll talk
affected.
about in the next e-talk.
Right. So we'll we'll talk about aggressive behavior in the next we talk, where
Yeah.
we are assuming that we are in sync, we are connected with the child, but there is still either an injury, hurt element, physical, or even a social hurt or a emotional hurt element, which we need to think about and see how we can work on that. But yeah, let's talk about that next time. I think we are
Yeah,
goodbye
yeah. I think
for.
this is again a very interesting topic because every parent's ears must have been like this the moment they heard about this aggressive behavior. So yeah, I will talk about that in the next we talk. Until then, whoever has watched this, I once again request see the whole series of behavior. This entire month we have talked about behavior. First, understanding good bad behavior, and then uh, second is more about both understanding the behavior, reaching to the
Yeah,
feelings. And today we talked about how do we, with the connection, you know, get child little closer to this acceptable behavior, which is again little self
child's acceptable behavior.
child acceptable behavior, self yeah,
Yeah,
self that.
yeah. Good,
So yes,
good. Good
and
time
next
to
week
pause.
yeah, time to
Yeah,
pause.
yes.
Thank you so much, Ratnesh. And I'm sure we all are gonna behave very well and choose less acceptable behaviors for ourselves too.
Okay, that I don't know. Let's worry about that later. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.